The doctor who walked into death. No human had ever walked into the Dragon Empress's throne chamber and lived. The chamber was carved from black stone and glowing crystal. Ancient fire symbols burned softly on the walls. Massive dragon guards stood in silence, their scales shining like armor. Each one was big enough to crush a human with one claw. At the center of the chamber lay the Dragon Empress Velthrixa. She was not sitting on her throne. She was lying on it. Her wings were folded tight, her breathing slow and painful. Dark veins spread across her golden scales like cracks in glass. A low growl escaped her throat with every breath. The strongest being in the galaxy was dying. Dragon healers had tried everything. Ancient magic, sacred fire, forbidden rituals. Nothing worked. The poison inside her body did not behave like magic. It moved slowly, smartly, like it was thinking. The council was desperate, and so they broke the oldest law of the Dragon Empire. They summoned a human. Dr. Elias Kane stood at the entrance of the throne chamber. He was small, fragile, no armor, no weapon, just a simple coat, a medical bag on his shoulder, and tired eyes that had seen too many dying patients across the stars. A dragon guard stepped forward, claws scraping the floor. "Take one more step," the dragon growled, "and you die." Elias did not stop. He took another step. Several dragons roared. Fire gathered in their throats. One command from the Empress, and the human would turn to ash. Elias looked around the chamber. He saw fear, anger, pride. He also saw something else. He saw a patient. "Your Empress is dying," Elias said calmly. "Threats won't change that." The chamber fell silent. No human had ever spoken like that here. The Dragon Empress slowly opened one eye. It burned with pain and fury. Her voice shook the chamber. "Human," she said, "you stand before death. Speak your last words." Elias met her gaze. His heart was beating fast, but his voice stayed steady. "I'm not here to die," he said. "I'm here to help." A dragon council member slammed his tail against the floor. "He lies. Humans poison and destroy. Kill him now." Elias did something no one expected. He walked forward, straight toward the Empress. Dragon guards lunged, but the Empress lifted one claw weakly. "Wait," she said. Elias stopped beside her throne. Up close, the damage was worse. Her scales were hot in some places, cold in others. The poison was attacking her body in waves. He opened his medical bag. The Empress laughed, a dry and broken sound. "You think human tools can save a dragon?" she asked. Elias shook his head. "No," he said honestly. "I think understanding can." The Empress narrowed her eyes. "Touch me," she warned, "and your species will remember your scream." Elias did not answer. He reached out. Every dragon in the chamber froze. Human skin touched dragon scales. Nothing exploded. Nothing burned. Elias pressed his hand gently against the darkened area of her side. His scanner beeped wildly. "This isn't magic," he said quietly. "This is designed." The word echoed in the chamber. Designed. The council erupted in anger. "Impossible. Dragon poison cannot be copied. He insults our power." The Empress raised her head with effort. "What do you mean, human?" Elias looked up at her. "This poison was made to kill you slowly," he said. "Not by enemies. By someone who knew your biology very well." Silence fell again. For the first time, fear crossed the Empress's eyes. "You claim betrayal," she said. "I claim truth," Elias replied. A dragon guard stepped forward, flames leaking from his mouth. "Enough. Kill him." The Empress stared at Elias. He did not beg. He did not bow. He did not try to run. He only said one thing. "If you kill me," Elias said, "you die tonight." The chamber went still. The Empress closed her eyes, pain twisting her face. After a long moment, she spoke. "Human, how long do I have?" Elias checked his scanner. "Hours," he said. "Maybe less." Another long silence. Finally, the Dragon Empress made a decision that would change history. "Let him work," she said. Dragons gasped. "If he lies," she added, "burn his world." Elias nodded once. "That's fair," he said. And for the first time in dragon history, a human doctor was given permission to save a Dragon Empress. The door behind him closed. The human had walked into death, and death had blinked first. The touch that should have killed him. The moment Elias touched the Dragon Empress, time seemed to stop. Every dragon in the throne chamber expected the same thing. Fire. Screams. A human reduced to ash. None of that happened. Elias stood still, his hand pressed against the poisoned scales of Empress Velthrixa. Sweat rolled down his face, not from fear, but from heat. Her body burned like a living furnace. Dragon guards tightened their claws. Impossible, one of them whispered. The poison inside the Empress reacted violently. Dark veins pulsed under her scales, spreading faster now, as if angry that it had been discovered. The Empress let out a sharp breath of pain. "Human," she growled. "Step away. Now." Elias didn't. Instead, he adjusted the scanner in his hand. The device beeped louder, flashing red symbols. "This poison is changing," he said. "It's reacting to my presence." A council dragon laughed harshly. "So even the poison rejects you?" Elias shook his head. "No," he said. "It's adapting. That means it was made to fight intelligence." The room went quiet. Dragons believed their poisons were perfect, ancient, absolute. The idea that something could adapt was wrong. The Empress tried to rise, but failed. Pain ripped through her body, and her wings twitched uncontrollably. Elias spoke fast now. "If she moves, the poison spreads faster," he said. "She needs to stay still." A dragon guard snarled. "You dare command us?" Elias finally looked at them. "I'm not commanding," he said. "I'm warning." The Empress stared at him closely. This human was afraid. She could smell it. But he did not run. He did not lie. And he did not treat her like a god. He treated her like a patient. "Explain," she demanded. Elias took a breath. "This poison wasn't meant to kill you quickly," he said. "It was designed to weaken you first, to make you look vulnerable, to let others see you fall." The council erupted. "Treason! Human lies again." "No one would dare." The Empress roared. Silence returned instantly. Her golden eyes locked onto Elias. "Oh," she said slowly. "Could make such a thing?" Elias hesitated. "Someone with access," he said. "Someone you trusted." The words cut deeper than the poison. For the first time in centuries, the Dragon Empress felt fear that had nothing to do with death. Suddenly, Elias's scanner screamed. The poison spiked. Dark energy surged across her chest. "She's crashing," Elias said. "I need to act now." A guard stepped forward, fire filling his throat. "No, this is your doing." Elias didn't argue. He did something worse. He injected himself. A thin needle pierced his arm, releasing a clear liquid into his bloodstream. Dragons froze. "What did you do?" the Empress demanded. Elias's hand shook slightly. "I bonded my system to hers," he said. "Whatever the poison does to her, I'll feel it first." The chamber exploded with rage. "He is insane. He dares link himself to the Empress. Kill him now." Pain hit Elias like a hammer. His vision blurred. His knees nearly buckled. But the Empress felt it too. The poison slowed. Her breathing steadied just a little. She looked at the human in shock. "You share the pain?" Elias forced a weak smile. "Doctors do that," he said, "in different ways." Blood dripped from his nose. The council stared in disbelief. No human had ever chosen pain for a dragon. Elias spoke through clenched teeth. "The poison targets dominance hormones," he said. "Dragon fire. Dragon strength. It feeds on power." He looked up at the Empress. "The stronger you are," he said, "the faster it kills you." Understanding hit her like lightning. "So my own strength is killing me." "Yes," Elias said. "That's why your healers failed. They kept making you stronger." Silence. Then realization. The Empress closed her eyes slowly. "Can you stop it?" she asked. Elias swallowed. "I can slow it," he said. "Cure will take time." "How much time?" "Enough for someone to try killing me," he replied. Almost on cue, the chamber doors slammed open. An alarm echoed through the palace. "Assassins," a guard roared. The Empress opened her eyes, burning with fury. "They're coming for you," she said to Elias. Elias wiped blood from his face. "Good," he said. "That means I was right." The Dragon Empress made a decision. "Protect the human," she commanded. Every dragon froze. "Anyone who harms him, she continued, dies screaming. Elias looked up at her, shocked. You trust me? No, she said. But my empire depends on you. The poison pulsed again. The bond held, and for the first time, a human stood at the center of dragon power. Not as prey, but as the most dangerous person in the room. The enemy hiding in dragon fire. The alarm did not stop. It screamed through the dragon palace like a dying beast. Red light filled the throne chamber as heavy doors sealed shut. Dragons moved fast, claws striking stone, wings spreading wide. Fire burned in the air, thick and dangerous. Elias stood near the Empress's throne, his breathing uneven. The bond still held. Every pulse of pain inside her body echoed inside his own. He stayed standing. Assassins are inside the palace, a guard shouted. They used royal codes. The Empress growled low. Then this poison was only the first blade, she said. Her eyes locked onto the Dragon Council. One of you open the door. Anger filled the chamber. Dragons shouted, accused, threatened. Centuries of loyalty cracked in seconds. Elias raised his hand. Stop, he said. Every dragon turned toward him. The Empress watched closely. Speak, she ordered. Elias swallowed, steadying himself against the pain. The poison reacts to stress, he said. If this room turns into chaos, it will kill her faster. Silence fell again. The Empress slowly lowered her head, forcing her power down. The poison slowed. You see, Elias said quietly. It feeds on dominance and fear. A council elder stepped forward, his scales dark red. You know too much for a human, the elder hissed. Elias looked at him. No, he said. I know medicine. Betrayal looks the same in every species. The elder's tail twitched. That was enough. Elias noticed it. He turned to the Empress. The traitor is trained to hide power, Elias said. Strong dragons flare. Guilty ones suppress. The chamber froze. Dragons had always believed strength was loud. Elias believed danger was quiet. Suddenly, the doors exploded inward. Fire and smoke filled the hall. Black-armored figures rushed in, weapons humming with anti-dragon energy. Protect the Empress, guards roared. Battle erupted. Dragons clashed with assassins. Fire met shields. Stone shattered. The palace shook. Elias moved, not toward safety, toward the Empress. An assassin broke through the line, weapon aimed straight at her heart. Elias stepped between them. The weapon fired. Pain tore through his side. He fell, but did not let go of the bond. The Empress screamed, not in fear, in rage. Her power surged. The poison reacted violently. No, Elias shouted. Control it. She forced the fire back, her claws shaking. Guards killed the assassin. Blood pooled on the floor. Elias gasped, pressing his hand to his wound. You're injured, the Empress said, stunned. Doesn't matter, Elias said. If I die, the bond breaks. Then the poison wins. Her eyes widened. You tied your life to mine again? Elias gave a weak laugh. Doctors are bad at safe choices. The battle ended as suddenly as it began. Assassins lay dead. Silence returned. One council member had not moved the entire time. The red-scaled elder. He slowly turned toward the Empress. You see, he said calmly. Humans bring chaos. Let her die in the Empire. Elias looked up. That's him, he said. Every dragon turned. The elder smiled. You have no proof. Elias tapped his scanner. The poison stabilized when you entered the room, he said, because you stopped suppressing your power. The elder's eyes narrowed. You watched that. I watched everything, Elias replied. You built the poison to kill strength. So you learned to hide yours. The elder laughed. Even if true, you cannot stop me. The Empress slowly stood, weak, but alive. You forget, she said. This is my empire. The elder lunged. Fire exploded, but Elias shouted one word. Now, the bond flared. The Empress redirected the poison, straight into the elder. He screamed as dark veins spread across his scales. No, this was meant for you. And now, the Empress said coldly, it ends with you. The traitor fell, dead. The palace stood silent. Elias collapsed to one knee. The Empress caught him with one claw. Gentle. You saved my life, she said. Elias looked up exhausted. No, he said. I saved your future. For the first time, the Dragon Empress did something unthinkable. She bowed her head to a human, and the dragons watching understood one terrifying truth. The most dangerous power in the Empire was no longer fire. It was the human who understood it. The human the dragons could not kill. Silence ruled the throne chamber. The traitor's body lay burned and broken on the black stone floor. Smoke drifted slowly upward, mixing with the glow of ancient fire runes. No one spoke. Hundreds of dragons stared at one human. Elias Kane. He was on one knee, breathing hard. Blood stained his coat. His hands trembled, but his eyes stayed clear. The Dragon Empress stood above him. Weak, alive. That alone shook the Empire. A dragon general stepped forward, claws tight with anger. This changes nothing, he growled. The human is still a danger. Several dragons agreed. He linked himself to the Empress. He redirected dragon poison. He saw through us. Fear hid behind their rage. Elias slowly pushed himself to his feet. Then kill me, he said. The words hit the chamber like thunder. Dragons froze. Kill me, Elias repeated calmly. If you think I'm a threat, end it. The Empress turned sharply. No, she said. The single word carried command and warning. The general hesitated. Empress, he is human. He knows too much. Elias looked at her. I won't fight, he said. I won't run, but I won't beg either. The Empress studied him. She had ruled for centuries. She had seen warriors cry, kings lie, enemies plead. This human did none of those things. Why? She asked quietly. Why are you not afraid? Elias answered honestly. Because fear won't save anyone, he said. Only action does. A murmur spread through the chamber. The Empress turned to the council. This human saved my life, she said. Twice. A council dragon snapped back. And tomorrow he may destroy us. Elias shook his head. If I wanted you dead, he said, you'd already be burning. That was not a threat. It was a fact. Dragons felt it. The Empress raised her claw. Enough. She stepped closer to Elias. Her massive shadow fell over him. Human, she said, you broke our laws. You touched our power. You saw our weakness. She leaned down, her golden eyes burning. Give me one reason, she said, not to end you here. Elias met her gaze. Because I can finish what your healers can't, he said. And because someone else is still trying to kill you. The chamber went cold. You think there are more? The general asked. Yes, Elias said. Poison was step 1. Assassins were step 2. And step 3? The Empress asked. Elias paused. War, he said. Dragons erupted. Impossible. No one dares. Our enemies fear us. Elias raised his voice for the first time. They don't fear you anymore, he said. They studied you. Your strength. Your pride. He looked around the chamber. And they learned your greatest weakness. The Empress narrowed her eyes. Say it. You never imagine losing, Elias said. So you never prepare for it. Silence. That truth cut deep. Elias continued. The poison targeted dominance. The traitor hid power. The assassins used your own codes. He looked back at the Empress. This isn't random, he said. This is planned. The Empress felt the bond stir. Not pain this time. Clarity. You believe this will continue, she said. Yes, Elias replied. Unless you change. A council dragon hissed. You dare tell the Empress to change. Elias answered calmly. I dare tell a patient the truth. The word echoed. Patient. Not ruler. Not goddess. Patient. The Empress straightened fully. Her wings spread slowly. Power rolling through the chamber. Controlled, careful. The poison still lives inside me, she said. If I lose control, I die. Yes, Elias said. And if you rule the same way, your empire follows. Dragons watched in shock as their Empress listened. Truly listened. What do you want, human? She asked. Elias shook his head. I don't want, he said. I work. He lifted his medical bag. I need a lab. I need time. And I need protection. Not from enemies. He looked at the council. But from you. That took courage no dragon could deny. The Empress turned sharply. From this moment, she declared, Elias Kane is under my protection. The chamber exploded. You can't. He is human. This is madness. The Empress roared. Fire shook the ceiling. Anyone who touches him, she said, answers to me. Silence returned. She looked at Elias. You will stay, she said. You will finish the cure. Elias nodded. And if I fail? He asked. The Empress smiled slightly. Then, she said, we die together. For the first time since entering the palace. Elias felt fear, not of death, but of how much power now rested in human hands. And across the galaxy, unseen enemies smiled, because the war they planned had begun. And at its center stood one human. The dragons could no longer kill. The cure that terrified an empire. The lab was built deep beneath the Dragon Palace. No fire burned there. That alone made dragons uncomfortable. Stone walls were sealed with ancient wards. Crystal lights glowed cold and white, replacing flame. Dragons gathered outside the chamber, but refused to enter. Fire was their strength. This place had none. Inside the lab, Elias Kane stood alone. He moved slowly, carefully. His body still carried pain from the bond, but his mind was sharp. Screens floated in the air beside ancient dragon tools. Human science and dragon knowledge shared the same space for the first time ever. The Dragon Empress watched from behind a barrier of energy. She did not sit on a throne. She sat still, controlled. Every breath was measured, every thought restrained. If her power spiked, the poison would respond. Elias spoke without looking at her. The poison is afraid, he said. The Empress raised an eyebrow. Poison does not fear. This one does, Elias replied, because it was designed to fight power, not patience. He activated a projection. A slow-moving pattern appeared. Dark energy tangled around dragon cells. This poison doesn't attack randomly, Elias continued. It waits. It watches. When it senses dominance, it strikes harder. A dragon scientist scoffed from outside the barrier. Then destroy it with more power. Elias finally turned. That's why you're losing, he said simply. The words landed like a blade. Silence followed. Elias adjusted the bond stabilizer attached to his arm. The Empress felt the shift immediately. The poison inside her slowed just a little. Her eyes widened. What did you do? I removed dominance from the signal, Elias said. No challenge. No resistance. The poison doesn't know how to respond. A murmur spread among the dragons watching. The Empress leaned forward. You are starving it. Yes, Elias said. Predators die when prey stops running. That scared them. Dragons had always believed strength solved everything. This human was winning by refusing to fight. Hours passed. Elias worked without rest. He mixed compounds, adjusted frequencies, studied dragon blood with careful respect. He did not rush. He did not panic. And that terrified the watching dragons more than fire ever had. Finally, a council dragon spoke. If this cure fails, the Empress dies. Elias nodded. Yes. If it succeeds, another said, our biology changes. Elias paused. Then you survive, he said. Not everything that changes is loss. The Empress closed her eyes. For centuries, dragons had ruled through fear. Now fear ruled them. Elias stepped back, holding a small vial. Clear, silent, harmless looking. This is it, he said. The cure won't fight the poison. He looked at the Empress. It will replace it. The chamber froze. You would put something unknown inside me, she asked. Yes, Elias said, because what's inside you now will kill you. The Empress studied the vial. So this is trust, she said softly. Yes, Elias replied. The kind that risks everything. She extended her claw. Do it. The moment the cure entered her system, the bond flared violently. Pain hit Elias like a wave. The Empress screamed. Dragons roared in panic. Stop. You're killing her. Elias shouted back. Hold her power steady. The poison reacted, thrashing, spreading, desperate. Then something changed. The cure flowed like calm water. The poison slowed, paused, then began to dissolve. The Empress's breathing steadied. Her scales regained their glow. The dark veins faded. Silence fell. Elias collapsed to the floor, exhausted. The bond loosened. The Empress stood slowly. Strong, alive, cured. Dragons stared in disbelief. She lives, someone whispered. The Empress looked down at Elias. You saved me, she said. No, Elias replied weakly. You trusted me. That scared her more than death ever had. Because now she understood something terrifying. Fire did not make the human dangerous. Weapons did not make him powerful. Understanding did. And an empire built on fear had just been saved. By a man who refused to use it. Far away, unseen enemies received a silent update. The Dragon Empress lives, and a human stands beside her. Their war plans changed. Not canceled. Escalated. When the Empress chose the human. The Dragon Empress did not return to her throne. That alone shocked the Empire. Instead, she stood beside Elias Kane. A human. In the heart of dragon power. The Great Hall was full. Generals. Council elders. Fire lords. Every important dragon in the Empire had been summoned. Wings were folded tight. Tails struck the floor in tension. They had all felt it. The Empress was healed. Alive. Stronger than expected. But changed. She raised one claw. Silence fell instantly. For centuries, the Empress said, we ruled through fear. No dragon interrupted her. Fear made us powerful, she continued, but also made us blind. Some dragons shifted uncomfortably. She looked at Elias. This human saw what we could not, she said. Not because he was stronger, but because he was willing to listen. A general stepped forward, anger barely controlled. Empress, this human nearly destroyed you. His cure altered dragon blood. Yes, she replied calmly, and it saved my life. That is not the point, the general snapped. Other empires are watching. If they see a human beside you, they will think us weak. The Empress turned slowly. Weak? She asked. Her power rolled through the hall. Not wild, not burning. Controlled. Precise. The general dropped to one knee, forced down by her presence. Elias felt it too, and realized something terrifying. She was stronger now, because she was no longer fighting herself. You fear how it looks, the Empress said. I fear what happens if we learn nothing. She faced the council. Someone among us betrayed the throne, she said. Someone used our pride as a weapon. Her gaze hardened. That ends today. A council elder hissed. You would trust a human over dragon blood? The Empress answered without hesitation. I trust results. She raised her voice. Elias Kane is no longer a guest. The room froze. He is no longer a prisoner. Shock rippled outward. He is no longer human in this court. Gasps echoed. Elias looked at her sharply. What does that mean? He asked quietly. The Empress turned to him. It means, she said, you stand with my authority. She stepped closer. From this moment, you are my voice in matters of life. Dragons erupted. That role is sacred. No human. This is madness. The Empress roared. Fire shook the hall, but did not spread. Control. Anyone who challenges this choice, she said, challenges me. Silence returned, thick and heavy. Elias felt the weight crash onto him. Empress, he said carefully, this makes me a target. Yes, she replied. That is why it matters. She turned to the gathered dragons. Our enemies wanted me dead, she said. They failed. Her eyes burned brighter. Now they will come louder. Harder. With armies. A general asked the question everyone feared. And the human? The Empress answered without looking away from Elias. They will try to kill him first. The hall went cold. Elias exhaled slowly. So this is the part where I should run, he said. The Empress almost smiled. You could, she said. I would not stop you. Elias looked around the hall. At the dragons. At the power. At the fear hiding behind pride. Then he shook his head. No, he said. If I leave, everything we fixed breaks again. That silence was different. Respect replaced fear. You're not bound by blood, the Empress said. Why stay? Elias answered simply. Because someone has to remind you when strength becomes a weakness. The Empress turned back to the council. Prepare the empire, she commanded. Change our defenses. Rethink our tactics. She spread her wings and announced this to the galaxy. The council froze. You will tell them, she continued, that the Dragon Empire stands stronger than ever. She paused, and that a human stands at my side by choice. Far away, Across the stars, spies listened. Messages were sent. Plans were rewritten. Because the Dragon Empire had done the unthinkable. They did not kill the human. They chose him. And every enemy understood the truth at once. This was no longer a war of fire. It was a war of minds. And the most dangerous weapon alive was a human the Dragon Empress trusted. The war they never prepared for. The first attack did not come with fire. It came with silence. No alarms. No warning. No roar of fleets. The Dragon Empire's outer systems went dark, one by one. Communication towers failed. Defense grids shut down. Entire star lanes vanished from sensors. In the war chamber, dragons growled in confusion. "This is impossible," a general said. "No enemy fleet can move that fast." Elias Kane stood at the center of the room, staring at the data. "They aren't attacking your strength," he said quietly. "They're attacking your habits." The Dragon Empress turned to him. "Explain." "They know you expect fire," Elias said. "So they removed the battlefield." A dragon officer roared. "Then we burn everything until they show themselves." Elias shook his head. "That's what they want," he said. "You burn. You chase. You exhaust yourselves." The Empress felt it. The same pattern as the poison. Enemies who learned how dragons think. "How many?" she asked. Elias checked the data. "Enough to destroy an empire built on reaction." Silence followed. Then the Empress spoke. "Then we do not react." Every dragon turned. That sentence alone changed everything. Elias looked up, surprised. She met his eyes. "You taught me this," she said. "Strength without control is weakness." She faced the War Council. "We do not launch fleets," she commanded. "We do not burn stars. We wait." Dragons bristled. "This is cowardice," one snapped. "No," Elias said calmly. "This is a trap." He tapped the display. "They're watching for movement. So we give them something else." "What?" the Empress asked. Elias smiled faintly. "Me." The room exploded. "No, they will kill you. This is insanity." Elias raised a hand. "They already planned to," he said. "Let's decide where." The Empress stared at him. "You would place yourself in enemy hands?" "Yes," Elias said, "because they underestimate humans." That was true. Enemies knew dragons. They feared dragons. They did not understand humans. "And when they take you?" the Empress asked. Elias answered softly. "Then the war ends." Hours later, a message echoed across the galaxy. A human envoy had surrendered himself. Alone. No guards. No fleet. No fire. Enemy commanders laughed. They brought Elias aboard their flagship, surrounded by weapons designed to kill dragons. Not humans. That was their mistake. Elias spoke calmly. "You studied dragon power," he said. "You never studied cooperation." They did not understand until every system on their ship shut down. Human code, human logic, human patience. The enemy fleet froze. At the same moment, dragon fleets appeared, silent, controlled, precise. No burning worlds, no rage, just perfect strikes. In the throne chamber, the Dragon Empress felt the signal. Victory. When Elias returned, the Empire did not cheer. They bowed, not to power, to change. The Empress stood before her people. "This war was not won by fire," she declared. "It was won by understanding." She turned to Elias. "The galaxy will remember this day," she said. "The day dragons learned to listen." Elias exhaled, tired. "I just didn't want anyone else to die," he said. The Empress lowered her head. A full bow, not forced, chosen. "Then stand with me," she said, as something new. And so history changed. Not because dragons were strongest, but because for the first time, they chose the human.